Welcome to Rise Above, the podcast that turns pain into purpose and struggle into strength. I'm your host, Jackie. Episode 11, we're going to talk about me at 40 plus going back to school and finishing my degree. It's never too late to go back and get your degree. Why was that so important to me? Before we dive in, comment down below, are you thinking about it? Are you intimidated about it because of your age, or do you just feel like it defeats the purpose? I want to know. I want to see what's on everyone's mind. So, for a little context, I graduated high school in 1995, and every time I say that, I hear my knees. Not 1995. Yes, 1995. Actually, correction. I graduated middle school in 1995. Lord. This is what happens when you're in your 40s. You can't get your timeline straight. I graduated in 1999 high school. I graduated with a full scholarship to Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut. I was top of my class. I was salutatorian. I was the girl that sat on top of the stage during the ceremony because I was in the top 10% and because I was salutatorian. I didn't have to give a speech or anything, but I was just there. So I got a little sash and all that stuff. I was somewhat smart. I was a little smart, and I was able to obtain an internship in Social Security Administration. So by the time that I graduated 18 going to 19. And I had a full-time job working in Walgreens. I had my full ride to college, and I had the internship. And I had my very first boyfriend at the age of 18. And once school started, and I would have to balance all three. So I would have to balance working at Walgreens, internship, school scheduling, and I was going to school full time. And back then, honestly, I didn't know how important your degree was going to be, or it was. And back then I was going to school for business management because that's what I went in high school for. That's what I didn't know what really business management was for. But that's what I majored in. I went to a magnet school in Connecticut, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Bassett High School, class of 1999. And so I just had a lot. I had a lot that I was balancing, and not really knowing the importance of what my education was gonna be or would be. I maybe 5 to 6 months into it, I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want the internship. I didn't want to go into school. I didn't want to do homework. I didn't want to write papers. And I had very good grades. I was straight A's, the smartest in my family. And so I decided to stop. I decided to not go. And I worked Walgreens full time. And then life started happening. And I had the mentality that I was going to go back at some point. But, life happens, years pass by, and I didn't realize how the years passed by so fast. I got pregnant, I had my daughter, and I decided to try to go back again, maybe in 2009. So I did the online schooling with the University of Phoenix, and I decided to do the Bachelor's of Arts. Still not really understanding what was my niche. Like, what did I like doing? I didn't know. I just knew that I didn't want business management. I did it before and it wasn't calling my attention, but I didn't know why. I just didn't know what I wanted. And at this point, I was, I would work on and off. I was in a toxic relationship at that point in 2009, and I couldn't really work because working was like a whole nother level of drama in the relationship that I was in. So I could only do online schooling because I wasn't allowed to go into class, and it kept me busy while I was in my mom's house and I wasn't working. And then it was on and off, back and forth. I I wasn't keeping up with the grades that I should have, or that I knew that I was capable of. And it was just something about that degree plan that wasn't doing it for me. And tragedy hit in 2011, and everything just went downhill from there. And I was just like, you know what, that was the first thing to go. Has anyone experienced anything that way, where you knew you wanted to go back, and then the time has gone past? Comment below, share with me what your experience has been as to whether you started going to college and then you stopped and you haven't really been able to find your way back. Talk to me. And if you don't feel comfortable sharing it in the comments below, send me an email. My information is on the channel. So tragedy happened. I focused on getting a job. I focused on rebuilding from that, being a mom and getting my daughter where she needed to be. So schooling it really wasn't on my mind. At that time, I found a job of working in a celebrity stylist. So I didn't really need a degree. I was working as a celebrity stylist, but I was also very good at being an administrative assistant and being a receptionist and just helping people, right? But I still didn't know what I would want to do. And I honestly wasn't giving it any mind to it. And then I started going back again in 2014 by post-university, doing it online. And I did a bachelor's in human services. At this point, I had started working for a nonprofit organization, social services fields, and I loved what I was doing. It was helping others. So I didn't want to necessarily narrow my field, which is why I didn't do social work. I wanted to be broader, and within the organization that I was working, like, I was given so many opportunities, and what was hindering me of growing was my degree. As the organization expanded, positions became available, and I was able to grasp some position because of my throughout the times of me going and not going back and forth between college or whatnot. I had an equivalent to an associate's degree. So I was able to move up, but I was stagnant because I didn't have my bachelor's degree. And my boss was like a little bird in my ear, like, when are you gonna do it? When are you gonna do it? And I was just like, girl, no. So I tried in 2014, and then because I had exhausted all the funds of my financial aid, I couldn't continue. And financially, I couldn't. That was 2014 for me, was one of the toughest years for me. That's when everything started going downhill financially. I was pouring myself into a relationship and supporting them and putting them before myself, which wasn't their fault. It was my fault. I didn't know how to love myself first. I was putting more love into others than myself. So anyways, I digress. Let's go back. So I want to say, now let's fast forward to 2023. Again, my boss is like, Jacqueline, there's so much opportunity. Like, you're so good at what you do. Like, you know what you're doing. At this point, I've been with the organization for years. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, you know what? Let me call. Si está de Dios, if it's God's will, things will fall into place. If it's God's will, it'll fall into place. So I called, and they pretty much told me that to complete my undergrad, I had a year and a half of courses to complete. So there was some financial aid that I qualified for. I went in, I finished it, I did it, I filed for it, and then of course, having a little more of maybe a year to go, I was told that I had exhausted the funds again, and I would have to come out of pocket. And I was devastated because I was doing so well. Like, you can see when I started back in 2014, I was in a bad mental space with the trauma and everything else that was going on. And my grades weren't at the potential that I knew of the intellect that I had. So I had to repeat classes, and with me going back, like, I was A's, because now in human service, I had worked in this organization for years where this was easy for me because I had already did the work. So I already knew how to do case management. I already knew how to do social services. I knew how to do the core of what that undergrad was for. So I was zipping through it. So I was like, you know what? Head in the game, go ahead and see what your options are. And thankfully, I was able to get a loan for the amount of the remaining funds that I needed to finish it. And as of May 2025 this year, I have my Bachelor's of Science in Human Services. And that was reliving that moment was one of the best days in my life. I was able to finish something that I had started umpteen years ago. I was able to serve as a role model for my daughter that no matter how long something takes you to finish, if it's something that you are passionate about and you want to finish, when the timing is right, you will finish it. And I didn't look at it as I was 44 years old. I graduated in 2025, so just before May 2025, before I turned 45. So I graduated at 44. I had my daughter, I had my son, and then I had my granddaughter. So for me, it was all about empowering my daughter, setting that example for my granddaughter, even though she's still just a baby. And I was the first to graduate with a degree out of a family of four in my family. So that was a significant accomplishment for me. It wasn't only about being able to move up within the organization or have opportunities as far as my career. It was really something that I wanted to finish. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what was my niche. I didn't know, what was my passion. Because I think the worst thing is for someone to graduate with a degree where you just graduated with a degree just to have a degree, but it's not your passion. And then it's not a career, it's a job. And I wanted a career. I didn't want a job. I wanted a career. I wanted something where I was getting up every single day and I loved what I do. And that doesn't say that there's times that I don't want to pull my hair out. Absolutely. That doesn't say that sometimes I'm just frustrated and annoyed. Absolutely. But I love my job. I love what I do. So it wasn't intimidating for me, and now I'm 45, and when the stars align because I'm currently in my master's for public administration. And I said that I was done after my undergrad, but the way that it just happened, it was the week of my graduation, and my academic advisor was like, you start this day. So I literally started on the Wednesday when I was graduating on the Friday. So I had to reach out to my professors and say, I'm sorry, I'm going to be late. I'm just graduating and I have a lot going on. And my first class professor was just like, just make sure you have everything in by the end of Sunday, which I did. So I celebrated my graduation for my undergrad, and I was already enrolled in my master's for public administration. And I promise, after this, I'm done. No, and this one was me. This wasn't my boss chirping in my ear. This one was me. This was like, I felt like, you know what? I'm already here. Everything aligned. There was no hiccups for me to join this program. So for me, that was God telling me that this is your time to shine. Let's do it. Let's get the master. So why not? Why not? I'm an empty nester. I'm a grandma. So why not shoot for the stars? So I'm shooting for the stars. I'm in my prime right now. I am 45, reinventing myself as a woman, as a mom, as a grandma, and showing others, and having created this podcast and trying to empower women and inspire others that no matter what you've been through in life, you can rise above it. I'm a living testament. And if you guys have not seen any of the episodes and you're just joining this one, please go back. Go back and hear my story and see the things and hear the things that I share that I've gone through. I'm human. I've gone through heartbreak. I've gone through trauma. I've gone through loss, grief, financial instability. I've gone through everything that life can possibly throw your way. And I mustered up the power and the energy from within me to realize that I needed to heal, that what did I want? And I wanted to finish my degree. So finishing my degree was one of my biggest accomplishments. It really, really was. And I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. If you guys been watching the podcast since day one, I'm a crybaby. I can't help it. But I'm not going to cry. um, it really set the bar for me and showed me that no matter what I've been through, that as long as I put my mind and set my mind to it and it's what God wants for me, it's gonna happen. I've learned that if it doesn't align, it's okay. It is okay because it wasn't aligning at the time that it was supposed to. And that was just God's redirection. There was just other things that I had to go through. There was other lessons that I needed to learn. There was mistakes that I needed to make to be able to get to the point where I'm at now and appreciate the struggle and appreciate the effort and appreciate that I was able to complete this and see it, because this was something for me that was unattainable. I was like, I'm not going to be able to ever afford getting my degree. Financial aid pretty much told me, I'm done lending you. And then fast forward, financial aid gave me more money, which I'm super thankful for. And I have my undergrad. And again, like I mentioned, I'm here working on my master's in public administration. So it doesn't matter the age at all. If it's something that you want to do, work towards it, do it, get it done. The same thing, the same way, and I'll give you an example. Like, I used to be that person where I would go out, I would buy myself some stuff, and then I'm like, damn, I should have not bought that, and contemplate returning it. Or at times, I would just leave it. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to spend it. Has anyone experienced that? Has anyone that's watching this episode? Comment down below, yes, I have. Or I have done that. Or I just did that. Comment down below, because I know that I'm not the only one that goes through that, right? But then when it comes to buying something for either my daughter, my son, my granddaughter, or anybody else, I will spend whatever it needs to be spent and not worry about it. So in this chapter that I am in my life, if I want it and it's in alignment with my financial priorities, I'm going to get it. Because why do I have to put what I want on the back burner, but I'm okay pouring that into someone else? I need to pour into myself first before I can pour into someone else. So for me, that was my degree. I don't regret anything that I've been through up until the moment that I've got here. I made sacrifices and I chose to make those sacrifices. Nobody owes me anything. But now I'm in a point in my life that all those sacrifices are done. Everyone is where they need to be. And now I'm ready to focus on myself. And a part of me didn't do that for myself before because I needed to heal. I had childhood trauma. I had trauma from life experiences that I went through, choosing the wrong relationships, not knowing how to love myself, not knowing what it meant to love myself, not knowing my value, not knowing how to be a woman, right? And I had to learn that. I had to make mistakes. I had to, follow through with the way that the universe wanted me to go. And now, right now, I'm a force to be reckoned with. Can't nobody tell me anything. And what I will say is that in this healing journey that has led me to finish my degree, it can be lonely. Absolutely can be lonely, because you start to see people for what they are, which is really sad, right? And it's hard. But it's because you are so comfortable and you've conditioned yourself to having the pattern of putting everyone before you that when you start putting yourself first, it's uncomfortable. But girl, let me tell you, when that starts to become comfortable, that no rolls off of your tongue like nothing. Am I completely healed? Absolutely not. Do I put myself first now? Absolutely. Do I have stronger boundaries? Absolutely. Is anyone going to come and tell me, at 45, you shouldn't be doing all that with your degree? Mind your business. That's a hater. That is a hater. Those are the people that you need to put in the back burner. My circle is small, and I'm okay with my circle being small, because the ones that are in my circle are the ones that root for me, are the ones that are not envious, are the ones that know what I've been through and can actually validate and show me the appreciation from the outside looking in. So I'm here to tell you that it's never too late. And if you're thinking about going back to school and you have not done it, this is your sign to do it. Comment down below, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to hold you accountable to it. Comment down below, because I want to see you succeed the same way that I have. Because when I tell you, this side and this version of me is the best version that I have seen in a long time. She's not going anywhere. Thank you all for watching. Tune in to next episodes next week as I record and put them out there. And I'm here to remind you that no matter what you've been through, no matter how long it's taken you or how long it may take you, you can always rise above it. Thank you all for watching.